Hi everyone, my name is May Park. Welcome to another video tutorial on my blog and YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make an ombre background by mixing embossing paste and ink spray. This video is part of Altnews March release blog hub celebrating a new release of stencils, ink sprays, colored cardstock, envelopes, and tape runner. Make sure to check out my blog for more details and leave a comment on my blog post for a chance to win a $30 gift certificate from Altnews. Here are some of my practice pieces. I used the halftone stencil and sponge daubers to create an ombre look with the 4 shades of red ink pad. I also tested out tone-on-tone floral background using the floral drape stencil and colored cardstock. I didn't like any of these, then I decided to go outside of my comfort zone by using embossing paste. I'm going to use 110-pound Nina Solo white cardstock instead of 80-pound cardstock because I want my card base sturdy to hold the weight of embossing paste. When you apply your embossing paste using a stencil, it's always good to work with a large cardstock rather than A2 card size. For my first project, I'll be using the layered medallion A stencil. So here I have A1 size white cardstock and I'm taping my stencil over my cardstock using washi tape. This prevents the stencil from shifting when applying the paste. If the stencil moves around, you will not get a good result with stenciling because you might lose the delicate image of your stencil design. I think it's been almost 2 years since I used the embossing paste. So I'm so glad that I get a chance to use this texture paste from Ranger for today's project. If you don't have texture paste or embossing paste, you can make your own at home. Just Google homemade embossing paste, then you can find tons of recipes. I used to make my own embossing paste using baking soda and white acrylic paint. It worked almost the same with the Ranger embossing paste. So here I have embossing paste and spatulas, and I'll be using Altnews new ink spray, Warm Sunshine. This ink spray has metallic shimmer inside the bottle. So I'll be shaking the bottle first to mix the shimmer with the ink. If you don't like shimmery look, you can just use without shaking. I'm gonna pick up some paste with my spatula and I'm putting the lid back on the container because embossing paste can dry out quickly. Then I'm putting the ink out of spray bottle in a teaspoon. The reason I'm using a teaspoon is that I want to measure the amount of ink spray when I add it to my embossing paste. Depending on how much ink you add to the embossing paste, you can adjust the color intensity. I'm going to mix the embossing paste and ink together until it shows the even color. Then I'm applying embossing paste with my spatula over the stencil toward one direction. When you use the delicate stencil like this layered medallion stencil, you better take time to apply your embossing paste. If you work too fast, you may ruin your project as embossing powder can smear under the stencil. I'm moving on to the next color. I'm using the same ink spray again as I'm going to create a subtle ombre background. If you want to create a background with more vibrant colors, you can switch to another color like orange or red. I haven't tried it yet, but I guess you can tint your embossing paste using watercolors, ink pads, markers if you don't have ink spray. You can go further by adding other elements like glitter or embossing powder. After applying my third color, I'm going to go all over the surface with my spatula to make it smooth. By the way, I'm using the Ranger Craft Matte as my palette. This matte has a slick surface, so it's easy to clean, especially when you work with embossing paste. So here is the most fun part. I'm going to lift the stencil straight up off the cardstock to reveal the stenciled image. This looks absolutely gorgeous. Once you remove the stencil, I recommend you clean off your work surface, spatulas, and stencil immediately, otherwise you will have trouble taking off the embossing paste once it's dry. I'm going to set aside my cardstock to dry for about a half hour before moving on to the next step. While drying my panel, I'm going to create another background using layered medallion bead stencil and frosty pink ink spray. Since it's going to be the same process, I'm turning on some music and I'll be back once I'm done with my second background. So my stenciled paste is completely dry and it's time to create my card. I'm cutting down my panel slightly smaller than A2 card size using Timo's paper trimmer. I have a few A2 size cardstock in different colors and I'm matching them with my stenciled background to see which color go with my yellow ombre background. Matting with white cardstock looks great. What do you think? Here I have Nina Solo white cardstock measured at 4¼ inch by 11 inch and I'll be scoring at 5½ inch using Malta Sturdy Mini scoring board and Teflon bond folder to make an A2 size top folding card. Next, I'm going to attach my stencil panel onto the A2 card using 3M foam tape. By the way, I ordered this big roll of foam tape from Amazon by mistake, but I love it so much. Now I'll be working on my sentiment. I'm pulling out 2 stamps from Altenews Superscript stamp set and mounting them on acrylic block. I'm going to prep a piece of white cardstock with EK Success embossing powder tool to prevent any stray powder from sticking to unwanted areas. I'm going to ink up my stamps with Versamark watermark ink and stamp them on the paper. While the ink is still wet, I'm going to sprinkle Ranger Superfine Gold Embossing Powder over the stamped words and tap the excess powder off my cardstock. I'm using my small paintbrush and tweezer to flick away any stray powder. Then I'll heat set the sentiments with my heat tool until they are completely melted. Now I'm going to do some die cutting. I'll place my coordinating dies and secure them on my paper using washi tape so they won't move while die cutting. After placing my paper between cutting plates, I'll be running the dies through my Spellbinder's Platinum die cut machine. I'm also using the sentiments from Altenews Half-Ton Circle stamp set. I'm treating my black cardstock with the embossing powder tool and stamping the sentiments with the Versamark watermark ink. Then I'm going to preheat my heat gun for about 10 seconds until it's hot enough and heat emboss the sentiments with Ranger Superfine white embossing powder. I'm gonna allow my sentiments to cool, then I'm using Kleenex tissue to remove the white powder from my paper. Now it's time to assemble my card. I'll be mounting my die-cut word and sentiment banner on my card front using foam squares. I'm also adding some gold metallic thread behind my die-cut. I'm finishing off my card by adding some crystal clear sequins from Dress My Craft. Using embossing paste with a stencil is a great way to add texture to your project. Depending on which mediums you mix with embossing paste, the final result can be different. That's all for today. I hope this video tutorial inspires you to create a card with embossing paste and stencils. If you have any questions, please leave comments below and I'd be happy to answer them for you. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you won't miss any new video from me. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time with another video. Bye bye!